Most people would be shocked if they actually talk to the real people that are on the streets, like Brian. I'm the same thing. Me and Brian were talking this morning. We woke up. We were bullshitting, drinking a beer this morning. We were like, I looked down and I was like, motherfucker, we're a dying breed.
Yeah.
Like the next breed that's coming onto the streets now, they'll wear a hoodie and have a little flimsy backpack on their back and think they're on the streets. Like they're getting it. They're doing it. Not realizing like people like us, we have, regardless, we have a camp. We have a home base. You know what I mean? We have a dry environment. We have sleeping bags. We have food. We have water. We have all those things built in someplace. We have a home. Society doesn't realize it. I don't sleep on a park bench.
We have respect for nature and like all that shit.
Garbage.
We don't trash anything.
No.
We pick up all of our shit and
pack it in, pack it out.
Pack it in, pack it out.
Fuck, I pack garbage bags around
Clean
with
your
me.
scene, man. That's
I pack a roll of garbage bags because my wife is fortunate enough to get them from work. I hand the motherfuckers out like candy, right?
Yeah.
Clean shit up, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were having a beer this morning over at the thing over there, and
horrible, wasn't it?
Trash.
Trash. I was sitting there looking at it. That's when I looked at him. I was like, we're just a dying breed, man. We're dinosaurs, dude. We are dinosaurs. It's no longer the way it was 30 years ago when I first started living on the streets and really enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like now it's not so much an enjoyment. It can turn into a job almost to try to survive. It's not just living your life. It's like becoming a job. You got to watch everybody on the streets. You got to tread so lightly. You can't step on a sidewalk, smoke a cigarette, or you're kicked off a block. You know, you step into a store and you put a can in the machine the wrong way, you'll get kicked out of a store. It's like society's different from when I first started to now.
I get 86 from the sidewalk over there for eating a cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because some dipshit that fucking did it before me. You know?
Yeah.
Some fucking asshole trashed it before me, and I'm sitting here eating a cheeseburger.
$8, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude wants you 86. I'm like,
anybody that knows him knows he wouldn't do it. Trash, nothing, anything, yeah.
Well, we've kind of talked about it a little bit before, but there's kind of like that token help that people want to get, like they want to feel better about themselves for having something that you probably don't need.
Yeah.
And so you were saying like you're so acclimated to that lifestyle, some person who wants to help probably doesn't even really understand it. You might not even want housing.
You don't need housing. But there's other things that people like us do need. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want housing? Do you want a house and bills and garbage and all that stuff, or do you just want a better life that you have in the perspective that you have now?
I can go couch surfing with my friends.
Yeah.
All down the coast, no problem.
Yeah, I can sleep under a roof. And I know a lot of people. One of the things that's wrong with housing and stuff like that, first off, is like they're dry environments. We've talked about this, and I think one of the worst things that like as a misconstructor is you can't take certain elements of the street out of people right away. And one of the things is with a lot of people, we're not talking about methamphetamine addicts. That's a whole nother bracket. But people that drink alcohol that are on the streets, a lot of us are that way. We don't do other drugs. You know what I'm saying? We might dibble, we might dabble, but we don't do them. But
we're not pros.
No. But you can't take me and tell me that I will give you a place for you and your family, you know, because I do have a family, and you got to stop drinking. I'm good. You know what I mean? But people don't understand. Like, there's a lot of ways to help people in the streets. Wet housing would be one.
So they're trying to, like, all this whole, like, since the Reagan era, like, you know, get harder and harder on crime. It just hasn't worked.
It doesn't work, and it's not going to.
And so I think we're just starting to wake up to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now we're kind of still like in the dinosaur age here.
Like Nancy Reagan. Poor lady, or just say no or fight her war on drugs all these years and this and that. Now look at where we're at with marijuana. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time. How many years to get from that to nothing to zero tolerance, war on drugs? Part answer, just say no. The schools, remember that big program? That's where we're at now. Like, it took a long time over time. It took, and there's still a huge growth. I mean, just put it in that perspective. Like, we're talking, what?
30 years, 35
years. So even if you like, people talk about change and what can we do to do this, and hey, let's start a program. Well, you can go ahead and start your program today, but it's not going to do dick for another 20, 25, or 30 years until you figure out all the things and all the niches that are wrong and all the ways that people on the street are scamming you working you. You know, you're going to have to weed all that out because those are going to be in there with the good ones. You know, there's going to be so many things that like programs to help you or programs to help us, or we're going to do this and we're going to start this, and you can go ahead and do it. But I mean, is it going to be productive? Is it going to like show results? Probably not for years and years to come. And that's the problem, is because a lot of times it doesn't do anything. Well, and nobody sees anything. They still see the same thing every summer. And another thing is around in this community, it's really hard to judge the people that stay, call us home bums, or however you want to label us. We got our own names, but because we have travelers that come through for half the year, a huge number of them. They stay here, they dirtbag this whole fucking place up, then they leave, and then we're stuck, and we are them. Do you understand? We are them.
The reputation lingers.
We're homeless bums, and they're homeless bums, and all, but they don't understand these people are not part of us.
Who's going to educate the public? Because the public can't do that on their own.
They don't listen to us because most of the time they just think we're a lie. You know, it's just like somebody that decides to actually say, "Hey, this is wrong, and this is the reason why." That's who's going to actually educate, and it's going to have to be somebody that the public respects. It's going to have to be something that's done publicly, and it'll probably be embarrassing for certain people, but to actually stand up, somebody of power, of influence, to stand up and say, I've done this, and I've been learning this, and this is the way I feel. And I think what's going on should be changed. I think our perspective should be changed, and we should have an outlook of this. Not let's do this, but let's have an outlook of this in 5 years. Instead of what we're doing now, let's have an outlook to try to do this. That's what it'll take in a small community like this. And it'll also take, it's going to be really hard though because of the travelers. It's going to be really hard to do those kind of things and regulate them, like I said, in this kind of an environment.
If you take yourself out of the picture and just step back for a second.
Yes, sir.
And look at what the travelers are doing. What do you think that says in terms of our culture, like where we're at right now? Like, despite the fact of how it's affecting you negatively, why is that going on? Because
why are they here?
Generations, man, yeah. And like it's getting to be like where people just don't care. Like
I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, I kind of think some of those folks got like read Jack Kerouac or something, and they want to go on the road, and you know, they're living the dream.
But at the same time, they're also like there's.
You'd be surprised.
Packs of them.
Yeah.
Just that'll trash the whole fucking town.
They'll trash the whole town. They come through. They don't realize it, but they're like in 10, 12, 13 deep. They might have a bus down there with 30 people on it.
Yeah.
And then they all get off and they look like they're on the streets and they're just, they're canning, they're panhandling, they're aggressively from Walmart to Fred Meyer's to McDonald's and blah, blah, blah. And they'll do that for months. And then they'll put these ordinances, no aggressive panhandling. The street people are sleeping in there. It's not. Most of the time, there's like big herds of them. They get delivered, and they go from town to town up the coast because they can make a substantial amount of money even being pests.
So you kind of get stepped on by the APD, you get stepped on by the citizens, you get stepped on by the travelers.
Everybody. At that time of the year, it's horrible.
Stepped on by the Rainbow family.
Oh yeah. Yep. Those are the ones that come through.
Those are the ones that fuck
That's
it
what they're
all
called.
Up,
yeah.
The Rainbow.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. There's no question about it. Anybody that knows anything will tell you that. They're horrible. They used to be okay years ago, but it's not like what they are.
No.
You know what I mean?
Those are all guys that are on, like, those are all guys that are out, usually have warrants. They're all running from the law. And, like, yeah.
They're just weirdos.
That's where they get off. That's where they get away from the law. Is like,
just get on a bus and start a bus and start in a caravan and go from forest to forest and just city to city. And then they get another 20 people on their bus and they go do all the panhandling. They get to ride their bus and yada yada yada. It's almost like it's in the whole. It's like a world within a world within a world.
Right, and it's all a joke too. And it's not even real Rainbow anymore.
No, dead and gone years ago. Right about 8 years ago, that shit dissolved.
They're not
89 just that shit dissolved. Yeah, last time I came through Arkansas, I was with family, and they just like it was just not even the same. That was like 6 years ago. It was just like, what the fuck.
Well, I think this is kind of the point where I hear a lot of people debating who want to be part of this conversation.
Yeah.
And the word choice is what gets argued back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes you guys say there is some choice, but it's more like you said, more cultural.
Yeah.
You can get through. You just gotta stay all the way to the left.
Yeah. There's a little opening that goes around the fence there. You'll see it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You guys have a good day. You know, it's hard to say. Like I said, we're a dying breed, and I'm glad I'm getting old. I'm 50 years old now. How old are you? What, 42, 43?
I'm 42.
42. You're getting fucking old. You're gonna be fucking. You're not even gonna be able to get out of bed tomorrow. You're gonna have to shit before you go to sleep and before you get up. That's gonna be fucked up. Watch, it's gonna happen shortly. You're gonna wink. Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting old. I'm glad, like, just everything. Society, they're just, nobody's susceptible. I remember back when I started, like, traveling and really being a traveler living on the streets, like 30 years ago. Man, you couldn't go into a city without people feeding you. You know how much food people would have already brought by and delivered to me and Brian 10, 15, 20 years ago right here? Like, people, there'd be old ladies and families and kids bringing us sandwiches and chips and water. Like, right here. Like, I mean, they would just come. Like, not even with money. No, I'm not talking about bags of weed and drugs and heroin. I'm talking about, like, the necessities of life. Hey, you need a shower? Like, you need a bottle of water?
You want a hotel room for the night?
God, I can't tell you how many rooms I've slept in all across the country. I mean, stuff just doesn't happen anymore. Last time I got a motel room, this trucker in Spokane, he gave me $671 and some booze and cigarettes and all kinds of stuff. But, I mean, this stuff just doesn't happen like that anymore.
What really went to shit for me, Roger, is Jerry Garcia died.
Right?
That was 30 years ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at him now. He's lost in Astoria.
Yeah,
Fucking Jerry! He might have come this way, huh? You never know.
If Jerry was still alive,
He'd be this way.
life would be awesome. Man. Like,
It'd be a little different.
Yeah, it'd be totally different.
Those days, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, did you ever follow the data? Are you familiar or do you understand?
Oh, yeah, I know people who were
Yeah.
been living that lifestyle.
I followed for a minute.
I've never been 100% on the dead. I mean, there are moments when I'm really there.
Yeah.
I really kind of get it. I keep looking for the common denominators. Like, you have the right to choose how you want to live your life.
You do, as long as you don't infringe or hurt somebody else.
So why is so many people they think it's a problem and they want to fix it?
Because we're scumbags. We're sucking on society. A lot of people think that we're the ticks on a dog's back. You know what I mean? We're the tick. We're the ones sucking the blood. We're the one causing the national debt. We're the one causing. It's easy to blame people like us for city problems, like food stamps per se.
But we're actually the ones looking out for other people.
You'd be surprised.
Regulating these streets and making sure that everybody is okay.
You'd be surprised how many jerks actually get regulated on the streets.
We'll run a thief off in a second.
Out of this town faster than hell. It happens all the time. We just ran a thief off just recently. I mean, a thief that wasn't even stealing from us; it was stealing from the community, and we found out about it. And he no longer lives here. In a second, we find out about somebody stealing in this town. I don't give a fuck if it's a mountain bike off the back of a tourist car or somebody's garage for a goddamn bag of cans. Gone. One-time shot. You're gone. We will not allow stuff like that. A lot of people in society don't understand that kind of stuff. They just think, but we have to do that because could you imagine if we found out about it and we let people like that exist in a community like this? There's a reason why there's not a high crime rate here. It's because we don't do crime. Do you understand?
We're not criminals.
Because you want to see crime? Go to another city and who's doing the crime? The people on the streets. Look at the crime rates and the stupid shit that street people do in other cities, and then come back and look at the statistics of this town, and then argue that we are bad people. Because let me tell you something. We could leave people on the streets that would make crime rates rise real quick. It's not hard.
I've seen and associated work with people who were so disorganized that they just couldn't get it together. Like people living on the street who they go steal a wrench or something because they want a bag of dope or something. It's really stupid, but they don't know any other way to do it.
You know that, but once somebody does that, that's in that environment, that's who we all are. We are all that same person. We are a product. Like, it's such a shitty image. Like, we have to be very careful. You know what I'm saying, of that kind of thing, especially thievery and lying. We take that kind of stuff very serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do those kind of things in this kind of community because we live here. We just will not allow it. It'll ruin what little tiny bit that we do get from the community. People do bring me money. People do bring me food. I get gas delivered out there in that creek. There's certain things like I depend on certain things, and they're normal, 100% everyday people that go to work, that have families. You know what I'm saying? Like they are, that I just met on a fluke, that provide for my family. I know those people will fucking stop providing if this community is getting stolen from. I mean, one of them is her husband is in law enforcement, and she brings me gas to light stove. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he knows.
I wouldn't even. I mean, that's an ethical thing to do, but I wouldn't even say it's just ethical. It's just the fact that you've got one last shred of your dignity to hold on to.
Most definitely. I've always held on to my dignity, my pride. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've done things wrong in my past. It's been a long time since I really wronged anybody or done anything wrong. I mean, literally, it's been years. I'd have to say, damn, I might have yelled at probably my son a little bit more than I should have when he was growing up around 8 or 9. I would say I definitely yelled at him a lot, and I raised my voice, and I called him a son of a bitch a lot, and it took me a few years to stop calling him a son of a bitch. He's probably the last person I really wronged, and I'll say it because I verbally I guess you could say I was kind of a verbal jerk to him for a few years, but goddamn, 8, 9, 10 kids will just make you want to pull your freaking hair out. He'll be here in a few, he'll be out of school here in just a few minutes. But he's just a jerk sometimes when he was 8, 9, 10. But that was probably the last person that I could say that I think I wronged him a little because I was kind of moody. I really haven't wronged that many people.
The last person I wronged in this town is the one that kicked my puppy.
Oh, yeah.
He got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, he got his ass handed to him. Yeah, people still talk about that. Yeah, he got his ass handed to him. Yeah. That was one of those deals, man.
Kicked my dog, bro.
She's working. That's another thing a lot of people don't understand. Like, we're not just all... People would really be surprised to know that I have a 13-year-old son and a wife who goes to work every day and who's had the same job for 2.5 years, but yet we still live out in the woods in a campground off the beaten path. I mean, technically, illegally, and if they roll up on us, I'm in jeopardy of getting thrown right out into the highway with what we can carry. You know what I'm saying? But people, they don't even understand. It's not just me. I actually have a son and a wife. I mean, he was like a legitimate. Like I've raised these people. My wife, we've known each other since we were 9 years old. You know what I mean? Like we have bonds that people just can't break. So it's not even just me. There's whole families that live like this that society does not know about. Like literally, I can introduce you to my son. There's whole fucking families. Now, do I have to live the way I do if I chose? No. I could have a much better. I could have a house if I wanted, and more and more and more. I could. I'm capable of doing that. But do I want to? No. I'd rather build a rock wall with frickin' branches over my head in the middle of the frickin' state forest and come and get me.
Somebody might take it away from you.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, and in order to come get mine, you got to be like, you really got to be about it. You'd have to have like set up game cams and track me in. It's almost you're not even going to step up on it on a fluke unless you're like rappelling off a cliff because there's only a couple ways to get to it.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't come from down below, and I got a couple game cams, so I'm going to know who you are coming and going. You know what I mean? But yeah, no.
Well, you're taking it into a whole other place. Like this is totally a different concern, but like you kind of say the age we're at, that the more you age into one lifestyle, the more hard it gets to adapt to other lifestyles.
It is. I couldn't go back. We talked about this before, about certain part of our brains, I believe, like, you take me 30 years on the streets, okay? My brain is not hardwired to think about rent payments, power payments, garbage payments, okay? Those parts of my life, I guess you could say, have just been, they've been disconnected. I don't, like the old operator at the switchboard, you know what I mean? You see him on TV. Like, just start unplugging those everyday things that you are acclimated to. You know what I'm saying? Like the dentist appointments every 2 months and doctor's appointments. I mean, just you name it. Just the things that comes along with living within a dwelling, like in society, an apartment or anything like that. There's a lot of a routine and a lot of a program that comes along with it. And you just fall into it and you don't even think about it after a while, right?
Well, plus even like the more I stay in one field of work, the stupider I get and I can't adapt to other...
Yeah. It's because you're hard on. You're at that big operator in those old 20 movies, like that, connecting, and you're just pulling plugs because you don't need it. Your brain doesn't need it. My brain needs more of an aspect of who's coming down the road. I need to be more aware of certain other things, certain elements within my life.
You think there's ever a calling you missed that you should have taken?
BYU was going to sign me to a basketball scholarship. I turned that down.
How'd that happen?
I decided not to go to college.
How far did you go?
I graduated high school. I'm a graduate, and that's it.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I had no desire to go to a Mormon college and play for a Mormon college. My parents were Mormons. It was just like I had no desire to go play basketball at BYU.
So you had a talent for that?
Yeah, I was actually a pretty good basketball player. I was actually a really good soccer player too. There's still articles and I can tell you some papers in California from back when I was a kid. You can look them up on the archives that has me pictures in San Diego and shit like that. Played in the fucking, what do they call it? They called it like junior leagues or child leagues or whatever when I was a teenager. Yeah, it was like soccer. And my old ladies actually Googled it. We looked up on the old archives and there was the pictures of me when I was like 12, 13. I was a really good soccer player. But I mean, because I was always tall and fast, you know what I mean? I was just always very agile. So I was a good soccer player too. So maybe I passed up on that talent. I'm actually a pretty good artist. I can draw and paint portraits like a motherfucker. I'm not too bad of a tattoo artist even right now. You know what I mean? So I do have talents. You know what I mean? I definitely say people that know me would say that if they saw my artwork and stuff like that. They'd be like, that's talented. He can definitely. I can't draw a portrait like he can. You know what I mean? But we all have our own talents. You cook really good fucking quiche. Some of the best quiche I've had in years, right? I don't know if you cooked, but you brought it to me. That's a hell of a talent. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? The matter said, yeah. She said, being able to cook good food is a talent.
It is.
She agrees. I'm the young lady.
Yeah, my biggest concern when I wake up in the morning is dog food and beer.
Yeah.
And then I'll go after that.
People food. Yeah, that's right. Those are priorities. Like, how am I going to feed and water my bitches? And I need a fucking beer, and I think I'm getting hungry. Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of been there myself, and so, I mean, I guess it's okay to ask.
Oh, man, that's good looking toenail.
Do you ever feel like that there's a lot riding on that beer? I mean, do you ever think you can go into withdrawal? Or?
Oh, no.
I'll be all right. It'll just be better.
Yeah.
It'll be better. It put a smile on my face.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When it comes, it'll come in a better way. You'll be like, son of a bitch. You know what I mean? You'll be some
there's
crazy.
No seizures coming.
No.
Nothing like that. It's just like, man, it's going to really put a smile on my face.
And then it's going to be one of the oddest situations when someone does bring a beer. It's going to be like, did that really fucking just happen? You know what I mean? Like, no, yeah.